Inspirational Creatives, episode 165.
Hey, this is John Lee Dumas of Entrepreneur on Fire, and you're listening to the Inspirational Creatives podcast with Rob Lawrence.
Welcome to Inspirational Creatives. I'm your host, Rob Lawrence. Join me every Friday as I chat with successful artists, producers, and creative entrepreneurs who share powerful stories and strategies. They can help you to create the life that you want. Listen each week as these inspirational creatives show you how to take your creativity to the next level. You'll learn how to create a sustainable business that inspires others and gives you the financial freedom and lifestyle that you want. Thanks for listening. Make sure you sign up at inspirationalcreatives.com to get free exclusive bonus material. And now, on with the show. My guest today is known as a time compression coach. She is somebody who coaches leaders to build and grow businesses that create personal and financial freedom, which is one of the reasons why I'm excited to have her on the podcast today. She is the host of the Unstoppable Success Radio podcast, which is all about helping people to achieve their own goals in life more quickly and with greater ease. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you on the show today, Kelly Roach. Kelly, a very warm welcome.
Oh, thank you, Rob. I'm excited to be here.
Fantastic. So I heard somewhere that you're also a former NFL cheerleader. Is that true?
This is true.
And for which team was that for?
That was for the Philadelphia Eagles.
That's incredible, because even though I'm a Brit, my mum has several cousins on the east coast of the States, and I know they're actually avid fans of the Philadelphia Eagles, so quite a coincidence.
Oh, nice.
So for our listener, could you tell me a little bit more about what it is that you do?
Yeah, definitely. Well, first and foremost, I'm a wife and mom. So I have a 2.5-year-old daughter named Madison and an amazing husband named Billy. So I always like to share that first. But as far as my profession, I'm a business growth strategist. So what that means is I help entrepreneurs around the world to make 6- and 7-figure leaps in their businesses. So I do private coaching and consulting. I run online coaching programs. I sell online courses and digital products. And basically my entire mission and focus professionally in my life is to help people achieve financial freedom and to teach them how to build a business around a life that they absolutely love.
Wow, that's an amazing set of activities there, as well as being a mum. How do you fit it all in? Is that what you mean by time compression? Yeah,
well, one of the big things for me, Rob, was that I started my business while I was working full time. And one of the reasons why I started my business was because after being promoted 7 times in 8 years and traveling all over the country and, really doing the whole corporate 9-to-5 thing, I made it to the top of corporate America, which was great. I was burnout, I was exhausted, and I knew that I needed a major life change if I wanted my life to reflect my value system. And so I started my business on the side because I was a breadwinner for my family. And it was at that time that I had to learn how to reduce my work week by 20 plus hours in order to make time to start my business, while at the same time keeping my results going in my full-time job, which was in the staffing industry, it's one of the highest turnover, highest pressure production industries on the planet. And it is, you are ruthlessly accountable for results. So it was in that time, Rob, that I really focused on learning about systems and automation and strategy and productivity. And in the process of reducing my working hours by 20 plus, I tripled my income by starting and growing my own business while still, sustaining that. And so it's a major focus in my business, Rob, because number one, so many people out there today are juggling being at home with kids and starting a business, or working full time and starting a side hustle, or managing more than one business. I mean, no one has a simple situation. And so everyone that I talk to feels like they don't have enough time. I mean, we all hear that from everyone that we know. And so I focus a lot on that because there's really no point in me teaching you business growth strategy if number one, you don't have time to implement it. And number two, you're going to be miserable when you do because you're working 24 hours a day and not getting a chance to live life. So it's really about, remembering why you're getting into business or why you got into into business and keeping that intention in mind with everything that you do so that you don't get 5 or 10 years down the road and either have regret or feel like you want to rip down everything that you just built because you hate the new job that you created for yourself, if that makes sense.
That makes total sense. Yeah. So let's dive a little bit deeper there. I'm really fascinated to know how you made that transition from that career that you had there. I mean, that was quite amazing to get promoted seven times in 8 years, was it?
Yeah.
Incredible. I mean, the reality of that situation must have been quite something. So how did you actually make that transition into what it is that you do now?
Yeah, definitely. So I started off just doing one-to-one coaching and consulting, and I started taking clients all over the country and around the world, which allowed me to take clients early in the morning and late at night, and that type of thing. And, really just focused on, my corporate background, some of the key things that I learned, obviously sales and marketing and business growth strategy, which is how I got promoted so many times. I basically learned how to really rapidly drive profit and growth and sales. And I taught that to hundreds of other people. And because of that, we were able to break every record in the company's history. So what I do now today is I teach entrepreneurs how to put the right strategies and systems and tactics in place to do the same thing. So for me, I was very lucky, Rob, that my passion, which is helping people, achieve financial freedom, I feel is best done through building a business. And it just so happens that my whole background is in building business, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So not only did that allow me to help my clients, but of course it helped me in building my own business as well. So I started off really simple, just doing private, one-to-one coaching. Then I moved into group coaching programs, and I was doing the private and the group, and then slowly over time added things in like webinars and then podcasting and the book, digital products and online courses. So it's just, it's a step-by-step process, and it's just an evolution over time, but it's been a really fun, exciting journey. And, the biggest thing for me is getting to see the results that my clients get.
Yeah, I know our listener would be fascinated to know. You mentioned earlier about doubling and tripling your income. What's the secret there for you in being able to achieve that?
Yeah, definitely. So two main things. One is charging what you're worth and getting it. And I teach a lot on this. Almost every client that I bring on, I help them to double their prices because entrepreneurs, for whatever reason, there's an epidemic of undercharging amongst entrepreneurs. And it's really, really sad because what happens, Rob, is it's not just that they're not making as much money as they could or should be. What it does is it actually creates an inability for the business to grow because they dig themselves a hole working so hard servicing the current clients that they have that aren't making them enough money to grow or to live off of, that they don't have time to do the sales and the marketing that's necessary to actually scale up and achieve their goals. So number one, I always knew the value of my time and I always charged what I knew I was worth. And so I never tried to be the most reasonable or the cheapest option. I came out of the gate charging, pretty substantial fees for my private work with clients because I knew the value of what I was offering. And I knew that when people paid me a monthly coaching fee, they were going to see a direct return on investment in dollars and cents in their bank account. So charging what you're worth is at the essence of not only growing your income, but also building a freedom-based business. I would say that's number one. Number two is visibility. So from day one, I was very, very focused on visibility. And I started doing Facebook advertising out of the gate with my business because I knew that if no one knew who I was or what I did or how I could help them, there's no way they could pay me to do coaching for them. So one of the very first things that I did was say, how do I have thousands of people find out about me and see what I offer and see how I can help them? I do advertising. So I started advertising right out of the gate. That was absolutely huge. And then the third thing is team, focusing on team building. Most entrepreneurs say, I'll hire someone when. I'll get a staff when. And it's like this future thing that they aspire to or think about. And, one of the things that I teach in my programs and my courses and all of that is, it doesn't go, you grow and then you hire. You hire so that you can grow. And most people have that upside down and backwards because it is scary and it is an investment. And sometimes you feel like you have to go into the red in order to do it. But if you want to spring forward in a big way, you simply can't do it all yourself. And one of the biggest factors in building my business and growing it quickly was me keeping focused on selling, marketing, and servicing clients, and getting administrative support and operational help with all the other things that were low dollar hourly things that pretty much anyone could do. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And there's some fabulous tips there, and it's most insightful. I'm really interested to know from your experience and with your work with clients, what's really going on behind here? Because I know that people are afraid of doing Facebook advertising and afraid of showing up in that way. And I think also there is a lack of confidence as early entrepreneurs with pricing. What do you think is really going on behind all of that?
Yeah, well, what I always say is that mindset really is what determines your success. Okay. So, it's the first chapter in my book is all about mindset. It's one of the first segments in the Unstoppable Entrepreneur, which is my, flagship coaching program, because people want the result and they want the success and they want the tactic, but you can do the tactic with the wrong mindset and get zero results. You have to believe it. You have to own it. You have to be mentally tough. You have to keep working on growing your mindset. And it's from that the success comes. And it's from that the right energy is applied to the tactic that you're doing and the strategy that you're implementing, that you're going to see the results that you want. So, I think as entrepreneurs, what I hear from my clients all the time, Rob, is that it's very, very difficult to have the confidence to have to go out and promote yourself. People have a really difficult time. Even if they've sold before in the past for another company, it's a really hard transition for them to have to go out and sell themselves. And hey, I get it. And the thing I say to my clients all the time is that should 10 times your motivation to do what you need to do so that you can hire someone to do sales for you. And I can say from experience, I have someone in my company now that does marketing full time for me, and I have someone that does sales, and you can get there. That opportunity is there for everyone. But that also, in order to make that happen, you have to be willing to roll up your sleeves and get in there and be bold and be confident, know your worth, share it, talk about the value you can bring for people, and demand that you're paid what you're worth, and people will pay it. The biggest thing that holds entrepreneurs back from, charging what they're worth and getting it is not resistance in the market. They think that it's resistance in the market, but it's actually a lack of confidence in them.
Right. Wow. So we're talking about confidence and mindset there. That's fascinating. Let's come back to your own story. And you mentioned success there. What does success mean to you today, Kelly?
Yeah, success to me today means getting to work from my home office, go down in the middle of the day and see my daughter, be able to have dinner with my family every single night, getting to take fun vacations, knowing that we're financially secure and financially free, and doing work that I feel is making a huge difference in the world. Because one of the reasons why I got into coaching specifically small business owners was because I wanted to be having a direct impact on that person and their family. And I knew that if I helped someone to become successful and profitable in their business, it would be completely life-changing for them and the people that they love. And that's why I got into the work that I'm doing. And so that is a big part of what success means to me.
Has it always meant that, or is this something that's evolved for you?
No, it definitely didn't always mean that. When I was in my early stages of my career just after college and I was moving up the corporate ladder, it was definitely promotions and job title and income and, fast pace. I wanted to be in the boardrooms with the CEO and, doing all those things, which I did. And those things are great, but I do not consider that success any longer. Success looks very, very different to me today than it did, say, 10 years ago.
I remember hearing you recently on a podcast, I think with Laurie Slogan, and you mentioned that success is never a straight line journey. Can you tell me a little bit more about what you mean by that?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm really glad that you brought that up, Rob, because I actually feel like that's one of the most important things for entrepreneurs listening to know, whether you're new or you've been in business for a while. Many times people confuse a setback or a struggle or a failure with their inability to succeed overall. We are emotional beings and we interpret everything that happens in our business and we take it very personally. And I think that in order to grow, in order to learn, and in order to stretch yourself to the next level of success, it's going to include failure. It's going to include the learning process that can only happen in real time on the field, not on the sidelines, which means you're going to fail along the way. You're going to fail a lot. The most successful people are also the ones that fail the most because they're putting themselves out there. They're trying new things. They're testing new things. They're quickly learning from it. And then they're figuring out the right way to do things to get the results that they want. So I think if you can understand that every failure is simply a little nudge to redirect you to figure out your path to success. Stop taking it so personally and realize it's part of your learning curve. It's part of your development and your springboard forward. If you can make that mindset shift, you will be so much more successful, so much faster, and you'll be such a happier person because success is never a straight line. It's never going to be there. You're never going to arrive because as humans, the number one thing that creates happiness for us is a sense of progress. And progress can only come through learning and growing, making mistakes, trying new things. And so I think that's a really important thing for everyone listening to understand.
I love that. So it's about getting comfortable with failure in some respects.
It really, really is. And, people ask me all the time, what I think some of the keys to my success are. And I would definitely say, Rob, it is a comfort and a confidence, knowing and understanding that there will be an evolutionary process to every phase of this business. And when something doesn't go the way that I want it to, it's never permanent. That's not the final, answer. That's not the final ending. That's just simply, okay, what do we need to do from a strategic standpoint to reshape or redirect to get the result that we want? And being able to make that shift for me has been a huge part of the success and growth that we've had in the company.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So let's talk about freedom and fulfillment, because I know this is something that you talk about a lot. You're living proof that it is possible to create a living doing what you love. Could you talk to me a little bit about being able to create a living doing what you love whilst creating personal and financial freedom?
Well, I think that the first step in that, Rob, is knowing what it means to you. I think a lot of times people try to fit in someone else's box or follow someone else's, roadmap for freedom and success and fulfillment. And I think the most important part of achieving that is really taking time to get to know yourself, because it looks completely different for each and every one of us. And if you try to fit yourself into someone else's blueprint, you're never going to feel fulfilled. You're never going to feel successful or, happy. And so I think number one is getting to know yourself and giving yourself the time and space to really reflect on what you want out of life. And then I think the second step is being incredibly intentional about every decision that you make and asking yourself, does this put me on the higher path to where I want to be? Is this going to get me to my ultimate goal?
That's fascinating. Yeah. Let's talk about why and where we get stuck sometimes. I recognize there are a lot of people that they end up procrastinating and getting stuck. What do you think that is in your experience?
Well, I think in today's age of the scrolling and the bing and the bang and the boom and the tweet and the email and the notifications on the phone, I think people are in overload. I think a lot of people get really overwhelmed with information overload and distraction. And I think that unless you proactively create a plan and a system for yourself where you can prevent your mind from constantly being pulled in 1,000 different directions and constantly be looking at and consuming and observing things that either you're not ready for or they're not relevant to you or they're not going to serve you in getting to your goals, unless you control and eliminate those things, you will most definitely stay stuck. I actually just created a podcast episode it didn't release yet on eliminating information overload, because I'm hearing this from so many people. And it's like, get out of your phone, stop subscribing to 30 different people's email lists, stop looking at every single product launch much that every single person in your field is doing. You don't need the latest gadget. You don't need to click on every Facebook ad. Like, you need to focus on going out and getting a client. You need to focus on creating visibility for your business, building your team, and establishing yourself as an authority. And I think the simplest way to look at it is you're either producing or you're consuming.
You can't be creating content as well as consuming content at the same time.
Exactly.
Yeah. So how do you keep yourself away from distraction? How do you keep yourself focused, Kelly?
So I keep a whiteboard, and I use that very, very diligently, and I use my calendar. So what is on the calendar is exactly what happens. I time block out exactly what needs to happen for the week in advance, and in very specific detail. And I only work on things that are in my genius zone. So for me, that's going to be serving clients, of course. But besides that, creating podcast episodes, doing guest spots on other podcasts, hosting webinars, and creating videos. Besides that, managing my team. But everything else, operational, administrative, design, copy, all of those other things, like those go to my team. So I know what my strengths are. I know what my weaknesses are. I focus on the things that are only things that I can do, and everything else goes to the right person that should be doing it, instead of me. So it's knowing what your power levers are to grow your business and aligning your time and energy with those things. And it's following through on your commitments to yourself. Right? So you put on the calendar what you want to happen, and you follow through on that commitment. You don't make excuses or tell stories or give yourself rope to deviate from the commitment that you made to yourself.
So it's a case of knowing what needs to be done and actually just having the discipline to get on with it.
Exactly.
Yeah, fascinating. You mentioned there about being in your genius zone. I'd be interested to know how you, Kelly, keep yourself in just outside of your comfort zones. How do you make your strength stronger in that sense?
For me, I'm always looking for what is the highest, most potent, most leveraged way that I can use my time that is going to allow us to move forward. And, absolutely, I would say what I'm seeing on the landscape right now is that there's really three very powerful things that we're seeing a lot of, clients and subscribers and traction come from. And that's going to be video, that's going to be podcasting, and that's going to be webinars. And so for me, I'm constantly working on improving my skills in those areas, taking my game to the next level, looking for ways to improve, and just challenging myself to get better. And that's where I really see, the opportunity for all of us. Identify those power levers that make sense for your business and where you want to go and what you want to do. And hone your craft, challenge yourself to get better every single day. Never settle for being only as good as you were yesterday.
Is it about big leaps for you or incremental steps?
It's both. It's both. So, I think that there's some things that we do in the business that are slow and steady that we will always do that incrementally move us forward. And then there's other things that we do that will be big leaps forward. So I think it's a balance of both. Just like, we always try to have a balance of both, short-term objectives and long-term ones. We're always looking for, the powerful punch, as well as, those slow and steady, consistent things that we do all year long.
Yeah, fascinating. Yeah, that's absolutely fascinating. What is this all really about for you, Kelly? What is it that makes you tick? You're clearly highly motivated and you're somebody with remarkable achievements. But what is it for you? What motivates you?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that motivates me, Rob, is challenging myself to meet my potential. When I was very young, my parents always said to me, the quote, to those who much is given, much is expected. And my mission is to make sure that I'm doing the best that I can possibly do in every single moment to try and, fulfill my highest potential.
Yeah. So I'd love to ask you, what's inspired you most recently?
Ooh, that's a good question. What has inspired me recently? I think something that's been very inspiring for me recently is seeing the progress of things that we've been working on for quite a while. You know, I think that a lot of times people want instant gratification and they want overnight success. And when you see something that you know that you've been very patient with and you've been very diligent with and you've been working on for months and you're seeing the results of that come full circle, that's wildly inspiring. It's such great validation that what you knew in your heart was possible is, and that if you continue to work to improve and you continue to follow through and be diligent and deliver that value, that return will come back to you.
That is really inspirational. What are you grateful for today?
Oh, man, I'm grateful for so much. I mean, it's the first thing that I do every single morning when I wake up. I do a gratitude exercise. It's how I start my day every day. I'm grateful for everything from being here on the planet, my health, my family, my opportunity to do the work that I'm doing, being on the line with you right now, the clients that I serve, the opportunities that we have as entrepreneurs in the world today, just, you know, everything. And I think that one of the biggest things that drives happiness is gratitude, to be honest. And I feel that a lot of my happiness as a person comes back to the gratitude that I feel for the gifts that I have in my life.
Yeah, I love that. Gratitude. Absolutely. And what's next for you, Kelly?
So this year was an insane year for us. We launched the podcast last October. We went right into launching the book, and then we launched The Unstoppable Entrepreneur, and then we launched the audiobook, and we launched 2 courses. It was a wild and crazy ride. And I have 4 new team members right now. So this next year for us, Rob, is really about taking all of the work that we've done, all of the foundation that we've built, all the success that we had, and just scaling it up and optimizing the groundwork that we've already laid. So I'm going to take a little bit of a breath from creating totally new things and just really work on sharing the things that we've created with as many people as humanly possible.
That's fantastic. And finally, where can our listener find out more about you and your work?
Yeah, definitely. So I would say, of course, the best place is Unstoppable Success Radio, because we're there 3 times a week. And if you're a business owner or a small business owner or aspiring one, that is definitely a great place to get business strategy tips, and action-packed content to help you be successful. So check that out. It's on, iTunes, Stitcher, like 17 other places. And my home on the web is kellyroachcoaching.com. And there's like 9 different free resources there, audio, videos, ebooks, things to help you gain the skill set, the mindset, and the strategies to be successful in growing your own freedom-based business.
Love it. Fantastic. So that's kellyroachcoaching.com. I'll make sure the link's in the episode show notes. Thank you so much for your time today, Kelly.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for listening. Nothing beats the stories and advice of an expert to help you raise your creative game. I would love to know what you thought about today's episode, so don't forget to subscribe in iTunes, where you can rate and review the show. If you like this episode, I invite you to share it on Facebook or Twitter with the one person you know who will benefit from the wisdom shared here today. You can find the show notes on inspirationalcreatives.com/podcast. If you have a burning question or a great idea for a guest, head on over to inspirationalcreatives.com/contact, where you can connect with me there.